Chapter 83, The Students Preparing for the Longhu List. Student Zhu Tui, do you have any tricks to teach us when you are training your reflexes? Student Zhu Tui, how did you do it? Can you tell us? Little brother, can you teach us your experiences? Little brother Zhu. Instantly, Zhu Tui was surrounded by many students. There were also several beautiful new students. Their gentle and anxious tones caused the eyes of several male students to turn red. The students around Zhu Tui's training square were so depressed that they wanted to vomit blood. Was this what a genius meant? As long as he got good grades, beauties would fall from the sky. However, this fellow was clearly sleeping. If they could become a genius by sleeping, they could also. Students, do strictly according to what Professor Luo said. There will be an enhancement if you train hard enough. Zhu Tui had copied Professor Luo's exact words. The students who had gathered around to listen had looks of disdain. It was fine if he was unwilling to teach them. He could have just found an excuse and said that he could not. Why did he have to be so perfunctory? Little brother, let's have lunch together. I'll treat you to lunch at the canteen. There was also a young lady who was unwilling to let Zhu Tui off. Zhu Tui wanted to agree. He wanted to eat until the young lady regretted it. However, he really did not have any tips to teach her. He could only repeat what he said just now in an interesting manner. Seeing that they did not obtain anything, the students who had gathered around them dispersed. Zhu Tui heaved a sigh of relief. After the group of students dispersed, a dozen muscular male and female students suddenly gathered around him. It was clear that they were from the extreme branch. Zhu Tui's gaze shifted. The students from the School of Enlightened Mind, Rong Yayang, and the rest of the students gathered beside Zhu Tui also became nervous. The Enlightened Mind type was rather useless. Most of them had activated the genetic base points in their heads and necks, but they did not have a clear direction for their abilities. The school, or perhaps the Ministry of Education, was unwilling to let go of an opportunity to discover a unique ability. Humans had only been undergoing genetic evolution for 100 years. That sounded like a long time. However, based on history, humanity's genetic evolution had only just begun. The unknown was the most precious and valuable thing. These students who had activated the genetic base points in their heads were thrown into the School of Enlightened Mind to train with the rest of the students. If a student suddenly evolved and obtained a completely new ability one day, that would be the value of the many students in the School of Enlightened Mind who had only activated genetic base points but had no abilities whatsoever. Of course, the Enlightened Mind type was not completely useless. They were experts at conducting research and theorizing. They could even extrapolate from certain areas. Just like the vice teacher, Bian Yuan only had average abilities, but he had published more than a dozen theories. Mr. Bian was able to be made an exception and become a professor after he accumulated experience for a few more years and came up with his own systematic theory. Of course, it was also because most of the students in the School of Enlightened Mind did not have any battle prowess that they thought highly of Zhu Tui, who did. He was like the only man in the pile of women. They had to protect their only child. Coupled with the fact that Zhu Tui had always been at odds with the Extreme Branch Institute. Even though there were not many students in the School of Enlightened Mind, everyone was always prepared to protect Zhu Tui. A dozen students from the School of Enlightened Mind glared at the Extreme Branch Institute student who was exuding immense power when they saw him approach. Good morning, Zhu Tui. My name is Li Cheng, and I am in the Extreme Branch Institute School of Speed, Class 3. The person in the lead was a sunny-looking boy. He had short hair and was very energetic. He actively extended his hand to greet Zhu Tui. Hello, what's the matter? It was a polite handshake. It's like this. I wish to have a battle with you. Li Cheng had not finished his sentence when the expressions of Rong Yayang and the rest of the students from the School of Enlightened Mind changed. They straightened their skinny bodies and started to scold them. Can you guys be more shameless? Li Cheng and the rest of the students instantly had an ugly expression. It was not because they were angry, but because they were embarrassed. Li Cheng quickly gestured with his hands and said, "Don't be anxious, student. Let me explain. It's not what you think it is. We are not like Deng Wei. We also have nothing to do with Deng Wei. You're not here to seek revenge for Deng Wei?" Rong Yayang had a look of disbelief. The lonely testicle warrior has nothing to do with us. The answer of the other extreme branch student immediately made the students from the School of Enlightened Mind laugh. They knew that one of Deng Wei's testicles had lost some function, but it did not affect the function of a man. However, no one could have expected Deng Wei to already have the moniker of the Lonely Testicle Warrior in the Extreme Branch Institute. If student Deng Wei finds out then, Deng Wei must be out of his mind. He must have gone insane to want to become famous. Li Cheng signaled for the other students to not interrupt. He communicated with Zhu Tui sincerely. We purely wanted to battle Zhu Tui. That is because, in the previous videos, Zhu Tui's actual combat abilities in the Mystery Branch were too strange. There were also traces of the battle videos of the superb type student from the Mystery Branch Institute. However, there were no traces of Zhu Tui's attacks from the videos. Deng Wei looked like a fool in the video. So, we would like to ask to have a battle with student Zhu Tui. At this point, Li Cheng added sincerely, the main reason is that half of the growth phase of a new student is over in the 3 months. At that time, the competition for the Longhu list would begin. We want to make use of more battles to lay the foundation for the battle for the Longhu list. It was true that they were preparing for the battle for the Longhu list. The battles in the Extreme Branch were like the wind. Students from the Extreme Branch had to fight 1 or 2 battles a day to qualify. The Mystery Branch was also preparing for the battle for the Longhu list. Along with the rapid growth of the new students, the practical abilities of the Mystery Branch students also increased at a rapid rate. They were all using the battles to enhance their practical abilities and experience. The battles between the other faculties in the Mystery Branch Institute were always intense. They were all preparing for the Longhu list. Once someone entered the rankings, they would not only receive preferential treatment from the school, but they would also receive special attention and guidance from the professors in the school. Many of the professors have their special recruitment recommendation for students, but they refuse to do that. They would only use their special recruitment recommendation when the exceptional students of the Year 1 cohort stood out from the rest of the cohort and to become a special instructor for a certain student. After all, those who could make it onto the Year 1 Longhu list had to be above average in terms of both talent and temperament. Only the Enlightened Mind type had nothing much to fight against. The School of Enlightened Mind would usually give up on the Longhu list immediately. There was no such battle atmosphere. However, they should have seen a pig run before. Everyone knew that very well. For a time, they no longer harbored that much hostility toward Li Cheng. Student Zhu Tui, how is it? Do you want to battle us once? There is an arena room on the 5th floor of the training building. There are protective gear. If you are really worried about your safety, we can also get the teacher in charge to be the judge. Well, foot the cost. Li Cheng looked at Zhu Tui sincerely. Zhu Tui wanted to curse when he heard that. It looked like he was here to find a new sparring partner for free. Zhu Tui's mind power attacks were very strange. That was why they had come to battle Zhu Tui to accumulate experience and prepare for the fight for the Longhu list. However, the problem was, it was useless to Zhu Tui. If you guys are able to adapt to my attacking style, how would I be able to fight for the Longhu list? You guys got more experience in this battle. What about me? Do I get any benefits? I might get beaten up, but you might manage to grasp my weird attack methods and develop a way to deal with the situation. Am I a fool, or do I only agree to your request because I do for the greater good? Zhu Tui's 3 consecutive questions had dumbfounded Li Cheng. This was the first time he had seen such a refreshing and refined answer in school. It was too utilitarian and prioritized benefits. It made them a little uncomfortable. After dissing Li Cheng, Zhu Tui called for his classmates and put the 3-level energy restoration elixirs he had just obtained into his pocket. He was about to leave the Reflexes training building. Li Cheng and the rest were very disappointed. What do I have to do for you to agree to fight us? A student asked directly. Zhu Tui stopped in his tracks but did not stop. Li Cheng's eyes lit up when he received this hint. Can we offer you a bottle of level E energy restoration elixir? Li Cheng shouted. Zhu Tui, who was about to leave, stopped in his tracks. A bottle of level E energy restoration elixir was rather tempting to him. Zhu Tui did hygiene 4 to 5 times a month at the Institute 14 of the Genetic Research Institute. He only got a level E energy restoration elixir after 2 to 3 hours. It seemed like it was good to have a bottle every battle. Zhu Tui stopped in his tracks. However, he was still a little hesitant. Li Cheng's eyes lit up when he saw that there was a chance. Even though he had just entered college from high school, he was still influenced by what he saw and heard. Thus, he knew many things. It was just that he had never put it into practice. He quickly exchanged views with the students around him. 3 bottles. 3 bottles of level E energy restoration elixir. Fight us 3 times. Count me in. 4 bottles, 4 times, another extreme branch student added. Zhu Tui was completely moved. 4 bottles, $20,000. That was a major job. He had to bend his waist. 4 bottles, 4 times, regardless of the outcome? Alright, no problem. I can stop at any time if my mind power is insufficient. Sure. My attacks are a little strange. You can't hold me responsible if you are injured. I won't bear the medical expenses. No problem. But you have to compensate me if my injuries become too severe and affect my studies and training, Zhu Tui said. This made Li Cheng and the rest of the students extremely speechless. Could they be more unequal? So their injuries are injuries and his aren't. However, their needs were clear as day. They needed it after all. They were like a bachelor who wanted to get out of being single. They would immediately rush over and suck up to a beautiful woman after being teased by her. In reality, he did not even know that he was a spare tire. Thus, seeking equality did not exist. Alright, no problem. Wear a full set of protective gear. You'll have small injuries at most, Li Cheng promised through clenched teeth. Give me the items first before we engage in battle. Zhu Tui extended his hand. This? Li Cheng nearly fell to the ground in shock. Could he not give his classmates a little bit of trust? He was, after all, a genius from the Wuxia Genetic Evolution College. Could he renege on his debt? Li Cheng and the rest quickly gathered 4 bottles of level E energy restoration elixirs and handed them over. Zhu Tui did not take them all. He only took 2 bottles first. Let's fight to battles first. We'll talk after the battle. Let's see if I have any strength left. Even though Zhu Tui loved money and desperately needed the level E energy restoration elixir, he had a bottom line. He had to take what was his. No more, no less. However, he would not take what he should not take. He could not be greedy. Let's go. Up to the 5th floor. Zhu Tui, who had just received 2 more bottles of level E energy restoration elixirs, felt his pocket swell. He instantly felt extremely proud. Of course, he was also looking forward to it. To be honest, Zhu Tui also wanted to prepare himself for the Longhu list a month later. He wanted to gain some battle experience.